Hi everyone, so we're carrying on with ratio today and we're looking at splitting an amount into a given ratio. Okay, so let's go through this example. So, £20 is divided between Anne and Jim in the ratio 3 to 2. So what we're doing, we're going to split £20 into, and we're going to give 3 parts to Anne and 2 parts to Jim. So they're not going to end up with the same amount of money. Anne is going to end up with a little bit more. And what we're going to be doing, so for every £2 Jim gets, Anne will get £3. So let's see how we do this. So first thing to work out is how many parts we're splitting into altogether. So if Anne's getting 3 parts and Jim is getting 2 parts, that means we've got 3 plus 2, so that's 5 parts altogether. So 5 parts altogether. So we're going to have to split our £20 into 5 parts, and we're going to give 2 parts to Jim, 3 parts to Anne. So here we go, split it into 5 parts, and we can see we've got 3 red parts, that represents the ones Anne's going to get, and we've got 2 green ones, that's what Jim's going to get. So we need to work out how much each of these parts is worth. So we know we've got £20 in total. We need to work out what one of these 5 parts is worth. So we've got Anne and Jim. So because we're splitting into 5, and it's going to be 5 equal parts, to work out the value of one part, we do 20 divided by 5. And that gives us 4. And so that tells us each box, or each part, is worth £4. So now the last thing to do is to work out how much total each gets. So we can see that Anne's got 3 parts of £4. So that means altogether Anne has got £12. And Jim has got 2 parts that are worth £4. So that means Jim has got £8. And to check our final answer, because we've worked it out now, we've split up the parts, we can check that our total adds up to 20. So 12 add 8 does give us 20. So we've worked this one out correctly. So let's see another example. So with this one, we're splitting £70 between Joe and Kate in the ratio 3 to 4. How much money does each get? So again, we're splitting up £70. We can see it's not an even split, because for every £3 Joe gets, Kate would get £4, because it's in the ratio 3 to 4. So the first thing we do, we work out how many parts we have altogether. So we've got 3 parts going to Joe, 4 parts going to Kate, so that means we've got 7 parts altogether. So we're going to draw a diagram. So we've got our 7 parts, and we've got 3 of the parts going to Joe, 4 of the parts going to Kate. So we've got a diagram with 7 parts, 3 to Joe, 4 to Kate. So what we need to do now is work out how much one part is worth. So if we've got 7 parts we're splitting into, and we have £70 in total, to work out how much one part is worth, we're going to divide 70 by 7. And that tells us that each part is worth £10. And we're going to draw that on our diagram now. So we've got Joe getting 3 lots of £10 and Kate getting 4 lots of £10. So that means altogether Joe is going to get £30 and Kate is going to get £40 because she's got 4 lots of £10. And again, to check our answer, we can check that our amount is equal to the total. So 30 plus 40 does equal 70, so we have split that one correctly. So we've checked our answer like that. Okay, so now let's try and do one without a diagram. So Tom and Fred split £60 in the ratio 5 to 1. How much does Fred get? So the first thing to do we're going to look at is step 1, how many parts? So how many parts do we have in total? So we're splitting it in the ratio 5 to 1. So 5 parts plus 1 part, that is 6 parts altogether. So we've got 6 parts altogether. The step 2 was how much is one part? So how much is one part? And we do that because we know the total and we know how many parts we have. So we've got £60 and we're dividing that into 6 parts. So we're going to divide that by 6. So that tells us that £10 is one part. Oh, I don't know why my screen's doing that, sorry about that. So £10 is one part. So now we know that, we can work out how much they each get. So Tom has got 5 parts, Fred gets 1 part. And we know that 1 part is worth £10. So if Tom gets 5 parts, that means he's getting 10 lots of 5, so that is £50. Fred is getting 1 lot, or 1 part, so he is getting £10. So if the question is, how much does Fred get? Our answer is £10. So we've worked out the total of how much Fred gets, and it was £10 because he gets 1 part worth £10. Right, so now we're doing it with a length. So far all we've done is money. You can split anything into a given ratio. So let's split 72 into the ratio 7 to 5. So step 1, how many parts? So we've got 7 plus 5, so that is 12 parts. Step 2 was how much is 1 part worth? So how much is 1 part? So if we've got 12 parts and our total is 72 centimetres, to work out what 1 part is, we're going to do 72 divided by 12, which gives us 6. So 6 centimetres is 1 part, because 72 divided by 12 gives us 6. So now we know that, we're splitting it into the ratio 7 parts to 5 parts. And we know that each part is worth 6 centimetres. So we need to do 7 lots of 6, that is 42. And this one is 5 lots of 6, so that'll be 6 centimetres. We're going to do times 6 centimetres here as well. So that'll be 42 centimetres to 30 centimetres. And we've split it in the ratio 7 to 5. And we can check our answer as well by checking that our total is 72. So 42 plus 30 does equal 72. So we have got the correct answer here. So here is our final answer. Okay, so we've seen money, we've seen it with length. Let's do one with weight now. So we're going to split 35 kilograms in the ratio 4 to 3. So the first step is to work out how many parts we have in total. So step 1, how many parts? So we've got 4 parts and we've got 3 parts, so that is 7 parts altogether. Step 2 is to work out how much 1 part is worth. So we do, so how much is 1 part? So we're going to do 35 and we divide it, because we've got 7 parts, we're dividing it by 7. So that means 5 kilograms is 1 part. So now we know that we're splitting it in the ratio 4 to 3. So we've got 4 parts and 3 parts, and we know that each part is worth 5 kilograms. So all we're going to be doing then is timesing our number of parts by 5. So that gives us 20 kilograms and 15 kilograms. So we can check as well that we've got our total. So 20 plus 15 does give us the 35 that we want. So this is our final answer. We've split it into 2 parts, 4 to 3. Okay, so one last example before we start the task. So we've got splitting £12 into the ratio 1 to 1 to 2. And this one, although we're splitting into 3 parts, so 3 chunks, the idea is still the same. So step 1 is how many parts. So we've got 1 part, and 2 parts. So 1 add 1 add 2 gives me 4 parts. And step 2 is to work out what 1 part is worth. So if we've got £12 and we're splitting into 4 parts, to work out what 1 part is worth, we need to do 12 divided by 4, and that will give us £3. So £3 is 1 part. Okay, so now we've got our ratio 1 to 1 to 2, and this is 1 part, and 2 parts. So if we know that 1 part is worth £3, then we've got £3, £3, and then 2 parts of £3 will give us £6. So we can see the idea is very much the same, the method is identical, all we're doing is doing it with 3 parts instead of 2. So today's task is on Dr. Frost, so we need to go and have a go at that. I have also included an extension task on Firefly, because I don't know if the Dr. Frost will take it the full time. If it does, that's great, you don't need to do the extension. If you finish the Dr. Frost one and you've still got some time left, do have a look at the extension task, particularly the later questions, because there's some on there that are a little bit different to the ones we've seen, so it might be a bit more of a challenge. And I'll put the answers to the extension task on the next slide as well. So here's the answers to the extension slide. So if you've managed to get onto that, really well done. Check your answers, check you're getting them right, and if you've got any questions, feel free to email me.